That breaking news late today after that military fighter jet crashed right into a busy neighborhood in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Let's get right to the pictures tonight. The fuselage smoldering between two apartment buildings. The ejection seat that turned into a parachute for the two pilots. Both survived this. The seat now charred after crashing through a backyard fence. And all of this happened in a packed suburb, and tonight it is simply hard to believe no one on the ground was seriously hurt. Look at this map showing just how close this jet was to so many people on the ground. Those dots there, one a middle school, another busy highway, the third a museum. The crash site right there in the middle. David Curley is in Virginia tonight to lead us off.
Just seconds after takeoff, the Navy jet was in trouble.
I looked up and the plane went straight up with no sound. Just the engines were gone. And then he went right into a dive. Then boom, I could hear it hit, and I seen black smoke and instantly smelt jet fuel.
The F-18 came crashing down onto an apartment complex.
The whole thing was in flames, the whole backyard, and then things started to explode, and that black smoke kept going.
A roof ripped off one building, others engulfed in flames. The initial crash then followed by explosions. Pat Cavanaugh on his couch heard the crash.
Got off the couch and went to the back door, the sliding door, and when I looked out, I saw a pilot laying there, bleeding from the nose, and his parachute hanging from the building, and I knew exactly what happened. The jet had crashed.
The pilot was laying on his patio, and neighbor Colby Smith, who felt his walls shake and his power go out, came running to see what happened.
And I saw the pilot, I saw the parachute on the house, and he was still connected to it.
These two men and others at the apartment complex became the first responders, running to help the two Navy men.
And the pilot said, "I'm sorry for destroying your house." And I just bent down and I touched him. I was like, it's okay, it really is, are you okay? He was like, "I think I am."
The pilots were pulled away, leaving their ejector seats scattered in backyards. The two aviators may have waited until just the last moment to eject. Witnesses believe they were trying to avoid hitting two nearby schools. Residents were shaken, one man sitting and crying, others taken to the hospital for injuries, smoke inhalation, as fire crews look for any other victims. It is a training squadron at Oceana, and this was a training mission. Late today, the Navy says the two-engine jet suffered a catastrophic malfunction.
Both of those aircrew ejected safely. The front seater was a student pilot. The back seater was an experienced instructor.
That's significant because the student pilot was most likely at the controls. At last count, 9 injured, including the two pilots who are in good and fair condition. And remarkably, David, at this hour, no deaths associated with this jet crash.
Remarkable indeed. David Curley there in Virginia. David, thank you. I want to bring in former fighter pilot Colonel Stephen Ganyard. And Colonel, you and I were talking earlier. We want to get right back to the pictures tonight. This was something today. I wanted to ask you what you thought happened as this played out.
David, something catastrophic happened on takeoff or shortly after takeoff to this aircraft. Remember, it's a student pilot at the controls. And as we look at the wreckage tonight and you look at the engines on this aircraft, it's pretty clear that one of these engines was not working when the aircraft impacted the ground.
We know these two pilots ejected, that they survived this, and I wanted to show our viewers what that looks like. These next pictures are from 2010. This fighter jet crashes, and you're about to see a parachute. You'll see it there appearing on the left. Those are the pilots landing on the ground there. And Colonel, these final seconds are so crucial.
They are, because this is the decision the crew has to make. Do we stay with the airplane? Do we try to save the airplane? Do we continue to try and fly it away from a populated area? Or do we have to pull that ejection handle between our legs, get out of the airplane through that rocket-assisted seat, and save ourselves because the aircraft is no longer flyable?
And with just a few seconds left, I wanted to take you back to Virginia Beach just to ask you about how populated that neighborhood was. Should these flight paths be over neighborhoods like this one?
The neighborhoods have grown up around this air station and many air stations around the country that have been around really since World War II. Today, that crew knew that they were overpopulated areas, and they were just trying to stay with that aircraft as long as they could to try and get it out to sea so that they wouldn't endanger anybody in the ground. They had to make a very difficult decision, and thankfully it turned out fairly well.
Thankful indeed. Colonel Ganyard with us on the breaking news tonight. Thank you so much.